This is Public Access Signals from the Other Side, the Great Degoya County Chili Cook-Off Part 2. And I don't know what part we are in the broader campaign, but we're part 2 of the cook-off. So a couple of housekeeping things before we go any further. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've played, and so we're going to be doing, we've done a little bit of recapping off mic, but we'll do a bit of a recap as well for viewers. Also, this is our last session for before we take a break. So we will be breaking in September and October, and then be back probably in November with the campaign. So, well, if you're listening to this, you're caught up. But I was going to say it's a good chance for people to catch up. But if you're listening to this, you have presumably caught up. So you're going to have to just wait a little bit if you're watching it in September or August. So that's one thing to be mindful of as well. And I think it might be worth helping, or it might be worth talking about in our recap to say that, so right now you are playing the Road Trippers. You are sort of alternate dimension versions of your latchkeys, and we've met them last time and we've learned a little bit about them. Importantly, you were all confronted by the big man in the parking lot outside the convention center hotel, or the hotel convention center, and were implored to go back late in the day and help with a problem, a cult, the disciples of the flesh, they serve she who feeds, a sort of great hunger that lives beneath the earth near the hotel. And your characters have gone back. They have encountered a lot of strange characters. There's some hints, maybe mostly out of character hints, that the special chili that is being served is made with people. And in fact, I believe Ashley ate it. And you did eat the chili, right, Ashley? Or you pretended to eat it. You pretended to eat it. That's right.
It's in her sleeve,
Yeah,
just
that's
waiting.
right. So no one's actually eaten the special chili yet. So that's great.
It's terrible. That's a terrible way to phrase it. It's in your sleeve waiting. Oh my God.
You have some questions here. This is still a question and opportunity kind of situation, even though we don't do the phase structure. 2 questions. First is, who is the leader of the disciples of the flesh? It's a complexity 6. Opportunity, resolve the mystery by challenging them to a chili cook-off to assume leadership of the cult. And the second question is, how does she who feeds commune with her followers? That is a complexity 8. Opportunity, resolve the mystery by conducting a ritual in the hotel's basement that will allow you to enter the dead god's dream and shatter she who feeds his connection to the material world once and for all. You have 4 clues currently. The chorus to Mr. 5x5 burned into a La Fresca parking lot. The man who built a Moroccan hotel killed himself. Prior, he spent hours locked in the hotel basement alone. Management also doesn't care for people to go down there as a result. There's a fresh trail of blood leading into the theater. And one of the Hall B vendors is selling crude dolls made out of human bones. So those are your 4 clues. You have also marked 2 of your keys of good eaten, one of which we have not resolved yet. We're going to do that at the beginning of the play. I'll remind you of some of the characters as well. We have Trace Tulliver, who was Sean's friend back home. They had kind of a weird, like, kind of gay panic thing going on between the 2 of them. Mora Mo Ravish, a very cheerful woman in her mid-50s who really, really loves the cook-off and has sort of adopted Ashley. We have Robbie Flay, the bad boy chef of East Santa Fe. Although, if I change his name, that little line doesn't rhyme anymore. Sorry, viewers, I was talking about changing the name. Anyway. And then we also have Bartholomew Engelson, who is sort of hanging out presently with Nathan and Sean. He's a very awkward convention center employee. And we have Kate Lee, a woman who is doing kind of like a trad wife thing, cookbooks and field stripping animals, but also looking very 1950s housewife kind of in presentation. And that's sort of where we're at as far as characters and clues and things go. Do any of you have any questions before we do the Key of Good Eaten? Very well, then. I will remind you that the aspect of the key that you need to do is the following. Each road tripper should explain which of their fellow road trippers would make for good eating. What kind of power do they have that you could take for yourself if only you were able to consume them?
Uh, yeah, I have one. It's alternates power. Sort of going on that interaction that we had last session with him being very dismissive and building on that, we know that they dated and it did not end well. I think the power that Ashley would want from him is that power to be just dismissive and to just be really like mean about other people in like that way where you're just like, shut up, I don't care about you, or just keep talking until they shut up and go away, because she is so obsessed with being nice and liked and happy. And there's a part of her that is so resentful of that because she always has to be good and sweet and quirky weird, but not fully weird. But she's like, I am fully weird, and that should be fine. And I think what she really, really wants is to just have that power to tell people to just shut up and go away because she isn't going to get any better.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I got an inverse for that. I'll say that because I was thinking Nate would want to consume Ashley on account for the literal opposite reason, actually, funnily enough, is that Ashley's power of being able to embrace things so fully and easily, whether or not it's detrimental to her mental health, doesn't matter. But the ability to not reject everything put in front of you with a healthy smear of cynicism is actually something deep down Nate feels like he's missing in his life. He feels like he has to overanalyze every little thing and be prepared to take it apart if it's not worthwhile. Yet Ashley embraces such like optimistic, joyous living, and even with things that are nonsensical and absurd and maybe even harmful, she just throws herself headfirst into, ready to take it on as if, as if Sisyphus could push that boulder up that hill. And all he'd need to do is just dig straight to that heart and take a big old Dothraki bite out of it.
Did you know that was like a it was like a flavorless gummy bear? That
Yeah. Yeah.
heart, yeah.
Yeah.
I always love
Yeah.
that little factoid.
Yeah, it's great.
And like no flavor though. It was just like bland, flavorless. Like they couldn't like put some flavoring in it. Yeah.
Oh, Shant would have also been interested in eating, in consuming alternate for what feels to him like just an ease of just being himself and not having to think about who he is and what it means and what he wants. Nate can just move through life so easily, and Sean wishes for that.
I think that Chris wants to eat one of Sean's arms and gain that masculinity because they have very much struggled with their presentation.
Fantastic. So Nathan and Sean were in Hall B, which is the vendor hall, and Ashley and Chris had just met up in Hall A, which is where the main competition is being held. It is nighttime, though just barely. And you all heard the click, clack, clunk of security doors being locked. You also heard, somewhere deep within the convention center, the rev of a chainsaw. Now, maybe that's just someone cutting up meat for the chili. I don't know. But chainsaw seems like a pretty dramatic thing to do, to cut up meat for chili. Seems like a bit of a, well, it's like taking a chainsaw to a piece of meat kind of problem. So, not great, maybe. Garth is very worried about the fact that the doors are locked. Also, one thing we didn't touch on, but I think is worth mentioning because it's interesting. Chris, you actually, first of all, Chris, you are aware of what's going on here and your connection to the latchkeys, and so that's interesting. And also, you tried to call back home, and I can't remember the exact precise nature of the conversation, but it was really weird and foreboding and ominous. Just another thing to throw out there. Why don't we pick up with Sean and Nate? What do you do?
So, if I recall correctly, before we got distracted by having to like give condolences to an old friend and all that, we started plotting a path toward the basement because we weren't supposed to go there. I think Sean, if all the main doors are locked, he's going to be looking around for maybe a basement access somewhere.
You can find it. I don't need you to make a die roll. It won't be too difficult to find. But I will pose the question. The reason why it's so easy to find is because there are signs around the stairway entrance that indicate the disciples of the flesh have been down there. What are those signs? Anybody can answer.
I'm thinking how the new first Halloween movie that came out a couple years ago with the bloody teeth thing. There's just bloody teeth scattered on the carpet.
I was going to say someone spilled some chili and you can see one footprint of chili in the carpet leading to the basement door, but teeth work.
Oh, it can be both, I suppose.
It can be teeth
Chili and teeth.
There's teeth in the chili.
Anything to add, Jazzy or Steph? It's okay if not. It wasn't really a paint the scene. It was more just a, it was, but.
I think that there are these like just small like chunks of indeterminable meat just kind of on the door frame.
This is gross. This is really gross.
I'm thinking, can I make it worse?
Oh no.
Sure you can. I believe in you.
Thank you. I don't think maybe it's something that you see, but it's like a smell that like still lingers. And it's just like the smell of like rotting meat that somebody, like how horrifying the smell of body odor, like covered with deodorant is, and it somehow like kind of makes it worse because you have the two smells and they contrast. I think it's like that smell with rotting meat.
So are the two of you going down into the basement?
Sean's going to kind of pull up short, and I thought maybe that might be a clever way out, but Are those teeth?
Deadeye looks at him and says, "No."
They look. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Well, basement or chainsaw, take your pick, because there's noises coming from over there, and there's that over there. So, you know, which one? Which one are we going for? Meat smell or chainsaw noise?
uh, it could be a blender.
Kind of like listens. It's a loud fucking blender, but you could be right.
I mean, maybe we just go like halfway down the stairs and see what's what, right?
Halfway, right? Hey, when in life has anyone ever gotten hurt for going halfway somewhere, right?
You get halfway down the stairs, and you notice that already there are etchings in blood covering the walls depicting the rites of worship to she who feeds. If you keep going, you will see that the entire basement is a temple to the divine Sycorax. Let's paint the scene, everyone. What holy rituals have been recently performed in She Who Feeds His name?
Let me just look at the safety tab real quick.
I think there has been a clear kind of large scale animal sacrifice, but nothing's going to waste, and several of the pigs that have been slaughtered are now on spits ready for roasting.
I think upon an altar or shrine, there is just a human stomach that's been taken out, and it's just full of digesting meat just to the point of bursting, and it's just leaking over the altar as it digests.
I have a feeling you guys are going to stay here much longer.
Yeah. There is a mummified, dried out husk of a large heifer cow that has been like the stomach region and like has been like hollowed out and exposed, and it's being utilized as a tub that's full of chili that supplicants are doing ablutions in, just like dipping their hand into the husk bowl, spreading the chili over their naked forms.
That's happening right now as you go down there.
Why not?
Okay.
I think that there is a fountain type thing sort of in the ceiling. Looks like an upside down fountain, and there is sweet barbecue sauce pouring from it.
Is
I would
an
like for
upside
you
down
both.
fountain just a fire sprayer?
Yeah, like
What
this
is that?
like
I don't know.
like a sprinkler or something. Yeah.
Yeah, we see the cultists walking underneath it and just basking.
An incredibly bizarre scene. I would like for the both of you to make night moves at this time. What would like for each of you to say what you're afraid will happen if you lose your nerve right now?
Sean's afraid that their reaction will be audible enough to draw the attention of those supplicants at the heifer.
It's worse than that. You are currently being stalked by something down in the basement, and it will be a big problem. Nathan, what are you scared of? You're muted.
Yeah, and Nate is afraid that he's gonna turn tail, and he doesn't have to outrun the cultist. He just has to outrun Sean.
It's worse than that. You will turn tail and run directly into a problem. Let's get some composure rolls on the table, and then we'll check in with the other characters. Composure. Let me take a look at, well, your conditions, only the conditions you acquired in this mystery have any valence right now. I don't know if either of you have any, so.
I do not, so I'll roll flat.
Okay.
I can't remember if on edge is from this or
We'll just say it's not for now, just to keep it easy.
that's an 8.
8. What'd you get, Nate?
13.
13. Oh, very good. Nate, for your advantage, you will be able to enter the space, and if you wish, present yourself as a worshiper of She Who Feeds in order to blend in.
Hell yeah.
Sean, you will be able to also do the same, but you have to take a condition. No. To go any further, you'll have to eat something offered to you by a cultist down in the basement. Otherwise, you have to turn around.
Protein?
Yes, lots of it.
He's on board.
Okay. We'll come back to this scene. Ashley and Chris, I think you were just chatting with Kate Lee, and I think Robbie Flay is around there too. Mo is around as well, naturally. And you can hear coming from maybe in the general direction of the theater, the chainsaw revving. Let's just pick up the scene.
I think that Chris reaches to grab Ashley's arm, sort of panicked, and just squishes a bunch of chili and goes, "Oh, that's gross, but Ash, there's something seriously wrong here. We've got to get the others, and we got to get the fuck out."
Okay, fine. Just stay calm. It's just chili.
Mo
Probably
says,
has humans in it.
Mo walks up to you and says, "Oh, why the long faces? You're not scared of that noise, are you? It's probably just a blender."
Yeah,
No.
I mean, no, that's cutting meat, right? Makes a lot of noise. It's just my friend's not feeling super well, so too much chili.
Too much
If there
chili.
is such a thing.
If there is such a thing, I know, if you can believe it.
I know. Well, not everyone has our constitution, I guess.
She says,
Yeah,
"Have either of you been into the theater yet?"
where the
No.
blender is, right?
Oh, in fact, you don't hear the noise anymore. It stopped. She says,
Oh,
"Well, you should definitely come take a look. The Janie Meatpackers have set up a whole, all sorts of like things for guests. You could get little swag bags, and I think they're giving out free Hampton plushies, if I'm not mistaken. And the theater itself is quite lovely."
I really think we should probably get going. My lizard, its stomach's upset, so it might poop in the chili, and that would be really bad.
Oh, yes, it would be quite bad. Are you sure, though? You don't
I don't
mind?
know.
I'm just heading over there.
Uh, Ashley, what are we?
One second. And I'll go to Chris and say, I mean, look, if there is spooky things going on, shouldn't we know? Isn't it better that we know what we're up against instead of running away in a building where we might not be able to escape? I can go. You can be back up.
Okay, you make a pretty good point, actually. Yeah, the lizard's fine, actually. He's good. We're fine.
Lizards.
What a curious pet.
Yeah, calcium deficiencies. Most bearded dragons have them. Anyways, let's
go to the blender.
the theater, preferably.
Mo will lead you to the theater, the Fran Tulliver Memorial Theater. Let's talk about that. It is an auditorium newly added to the convention center. The venue has a leading-edge audio-visual setup and high-resolution projector equipped to play a variety of media. The reclining seats are made of soft red leather, and cartoon characters jeer down from painted balconies flanking the screen. The theater is actually currently playing commercials for Janie Meat Packers Limited on a loop, featuring the company mascot, Hampton the Pig, flashing that famous slogan, "How's about some sausages, yeah?" Hampton, in one of the cartoons, has actually split open his own stomach and is pulling out his entrails, but it's actually sausage links coming out of his belly. And smiling, happy. Let's paint the scene. The visage of a happy cartoon pig peers down from the heights of the theater screen. What about Hampton makes him seem sinister?
Too many teeth.
Too many teeth.
Instead of hooves
Go
on his hands, there are gloves like Mickey Mouse, but each finger ends in a point.
I think the colors are just really off and aggressive. It's like this really, really aggressive pink that just hurts you if you look at it too long. It's just a color that you can't place and don't understand why anyone picked it.
I think that his tongue is barbed.
Very good.
You can see it poking out of his mouth.
It's a bizarre scene, right? Towering Hampton the Pig. The whole place has kind of like a kid-like vibe. And Mo motions over her shoulder to someone who you can't see. And the doors into the theater, you hear them close behind you. Chunk chunk. And Mo says, "Well, now there we go. A little bit of privacy at last." Let's cut back over to Sean and Nate. Nate, give me the scene. You're in control here. Sean, you can narrate your bits as you wish. But I want to know how you ingratiate yourself with the cultists who are down here in the basement.
Yeah, I feel like Nate, when he sees the display of carnality, that of all this meat and sauce, there is an expression of disgust and horror, but slightly awash with absurdity. Like he almost feels like he should laugh. Like it's kind of this weird sound that bubbles up from deep in his stomach, somewhere between a gag and a giggle. It is where it comes out, and he just kind of like takes this subconscious like step forward into the room, looking around at all this display, and he's still stuffed full from eating earlier, and also those fries at the bar.
Shenanigans.
But shenanigans, yeah. And so yeah, I live near a place called Shanahan, so I was very much like about to be like, what is it? Yeah, shenanigans. Yeah, he walks into the room and all these cultists around here, he like takes like a big swallow that you can actually audibly hear the gulp going down his, you know, his throat, and you can watch the slight bulge in his neck as he enters and looks around and approaches another member of the faithful here, and just very calmly, very casually, with a little bit of like quiet awe, just asks him, just says like, it's like, hey, how about some sausages, yeah?
They look at you, their faces smeared with blood, barbecue sauce, a little unclear at this point. And So you can't make out who any distinguishing features though, because they look like that the beginning of Blade, right? Like just covered in
Yeah.
fucking gore. And they say, "All hail the divine Sycorax."
Yeah, Sycorax, all hail, divine. Yeah.
So, brother, what do you make of this year's rite?
Oh, it's I've never seen anything like it before.
The Feast of
Yeah.
10,000 Teeth will
Oh,
soon
that explains
begin.
the teeth. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
give you a funny look. The Feast of 10,000 Teeth is well underway.
Excellent.
I believe
Great.
even now, one of our sisters has lured a pair of offerings into the theater.
So cool. Hey, have you met my friend Sean?
Hail, Sycorax.
You look as if you have not yet tasted the flesh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had plenty of flesh earlier, but
Please.
I could always go for a round two.
Somebody brings you a bowl of something. I guess it's chili. It has a chunky quality that's suggestive of chili in any case. They hold it up to you. Feast.
Mm-mm. He'll take a big spoon, looking up, checking that he's actually being watched, and just slowly, like, yeah, and just down the hatch.
You have to take a condition called a taste for it. It's delicious.
No, that's really good. Neat.
Yes. The flesh is incomparably sweet, seasoned with the suffering of the victim, of the offering, savory with their terror, sweet.
And some garlic?
Well, yes, obviously. Yes. And cumin, cayenne.
I actually had a roommate in college back in freshman year who's like slow roasted onions before putting them in the chili. Like, do you guys do something like that?
And here they actually kind of break out into like all kinds of like, there's like a whole debate that breaks out because one of the cultists is from Texas, and Texans will fucking go crazy if you suggest that you put anything other than meat in the chili, right? Chili is just meat and nothing else, and the gravy. But then, of course, you get like, we're closer to Santa Fe though, and they have lots of really interesting ideas about chili and how chili should be done. And it's going on at some length. But it at least creates an opening for the two of you to continue looking around down here in the basement. We'll cut over to Ashley and Chris. Mo says, each of us has our favorite hunting ground within the Moroccan Hotel and Convention Center. I'm quite fond of this theater. Even before it was a theater, the space had an undeniable connection to she who feeds. I can feel her power coursing through me. Her hunger is my hunger, and in satisfying my hunger, I help her, if even just a little bit. It is true, my personal satisfaction can never be enough to fulfill her, but we have to all do our part. And she goes into her fanny pack and pulls out a butcher's knife that seems like it shouldn't fit in there, but it does. And she gets a wild look in her eyes and draws back and flies toward Chris. What do you do?
Chris maces her
Very
with
good.
bear mace.
You have bear mace. Oh, good, good, good. Are you going to mark that item?
Yeah.
Let's do the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I mean, I don't think he's afraid that she's going to be able to withstand the bear mace, because I don't think he would think anyone can. I think he's mostly afraid that the bear mace is going to get into his or Ashley's eyes also.
Yeah, it's worse than that. So much so that you just become a easy pickings, and then she turns her attention to Ashley. Do go ahead and roll with, I think it's probably composure, but with advantage.
Cool. That is 11.
11. Oh, very good. Yeah. You'll be able to dodge her attack. Go ahead and just describe how you did. Just give me the scene, like escaping her.
Well, I think that it's really, as she is going on this monologue, Chris is just reaching into his like crossbody bag and just pulling out the bear mace slowly. And as soon as she lunges, he just goes, she's like, no, and drops the knife.
Ashley, you can finish her off. What do you do?
I think this whole time, Ashley just stood there, I think feeling excited, because this is such a strange situation. All of this has been so weird. And well, she's fighting for her life. Someone threatened her friend and her. So truly, no one could blame her for what happens next. And when she drops the knife, Ashley goes for it and just jams it in the side of her neck and pulls it back out with a splash.
There's a messy, I'd say it's like a, it's not a clean, like sort of, it's not a clean sort of like samurai movie gout of blood. It's nasty. I mean, because the blade just kind of tears a big jagged, big jagged slash into her neck. So there's blood spraying, but also pumping, and she's clawing at her neck and just getting her whole body drenched and covered in blood. And she collapses down onto her knees, tries to drag herself up on one of the theater chairs, but can't do it, and then slumps back down, quite dead.
I think Ashley smiles and says, "This lady's never seen a movie. The prey always becomes the hunter."
Indeed. Let's cut back over to the others. So, Nate, you kind of have the run of the place. The cultists are arguing about chili now. What do you do?
Yeah, I feel like, Nate looks over at Sean and's like, all right, we bought ourselves 15 minutes. Let's look for clues. And Nate is going to disappear into like the throng of things, moving around through the actually, I want to hear what Ben has in mind first before I decide what I'm doing.
I mean, I think Sean is going to want to see if he can dig up anything about the rite of 10,000 teeth. So I don't know, maybe there's a grimoire somewhere that the cultist has left a cookbook.
You never know. I love it. Sean, you can go ahead and make the meddling move. I think these meddling moves are going to be with composure because of the circumstances that you're in. So go ahead and roll that. I think because you have a taste for it, I'm going to put you at disadvantage because I think you're actually like stopping to like taste things that you find, or you're tempted to. In any case, it slows you down and distracts you.
I think what Nate's gonna be doing is while Sean's doing that, I'm gonna be looking for any like interesting things I can just grab and pick up if they look like useful like cult implements or like weird things that are like
Robes
left
or
around the
something.
area,
Yeah,
robes or just
yeah.
I want to just find something to pick up and grab.
Love all that. Go ahead and roll same thing, meddling move with composure.
You know what?
Would
I'm
you?
gonna mark my my University of New Mexico letter jacket because it's got big pockets on the inside, fit for
He's like,
stuffing.
I love it. Good. Sean, what did you get on your roll?
I got 9.
9. Very good.
I
Okay,
got an
great.
8.
An 8. I think I might combine your complication a bit. But let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and resolve the scene. Clues. First clue is, since you're stuffing things in your pockets, Nathan, you actually find a book. A historical record of some sort with highlighted sections if you thumb through it. The book is about the earliest settlers of this region, and you learn that there was a sort of Donner Party situation that happened, and that the leader of said party was actually an ancestor. Well, who knows the direct connection, but they have the last name Flay.
Duly
Sean,
noted.
duly noted. Sean, you discover something much more troubling, perhaps. As you're roaming around this basement area, at a certain point, all over the basement, it's actually not like finished. Like it's just cave underneath, that like butts up against like sort of concrete, and it's much, much bigger than it seems like it should be. And at one point, you find yourself peering over a pit filled with hundreds of skeletons, a mass burial site of some sort. And here's the problem for you both. You both wander back together to the principal part of the basement where the cultists were, to find that it's now empty of cultists. All the blood and weird food shit is still all over the place. And then, with perfect horror movie timing, you hear, and a person wearing a cartoon pig character costume steps out of the darkness. They have an unreasonably long chainsaw, a chainsaw that the blade is as long as your leg, and they raise it up and they begin swinging. Let's cut back over to Ashley and Chris. Well, it's quite a scene that we just had there, Ashley and Chris. What are the two of you doing? You now realize that there's something really, really dangerous going on here. You were just attacked by this older woman, and yeah, what do you do?
Ashley is kneeling down and searching her corpse for anything interesting or valuable that we can use to survive.
Make a meddling move with composure.
All right. A 7.
7. I will give you a clue. What are you doing right now, Chris?
I think that when Ashley stabs, was it Mo?
It was Mo, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When Ashley stabs Mo, I think at first we see this shock of like fear and terror come across Chris's face. But then we see burn scars glitch onto their neck for a moment and then glitch away. And they seem as if they understand what just happened in a much different way and are suddenly okay with it. And I think that Chris just kind of looks around and is going to go see if this giant fucking Hampton statue has anything to do with anything.
Yeah, it's actually just a big projection on the screen.
Projection.
But you can certainly go investigate closer or
I
look
think
around in general.
in that case, I think using some of that, like some of the Topher's influence on Chris, they're going to go to the projector and try and like interface with it. Just
In the hopes
put their
of doing
hand on
what?
top of it.
Oh,
and
just like to
try and like connect with
Oh yeah,
Hampton
sure.
on the inside and just
Yeah.
maybe interrogate him. I don't know.
No, I like it. Yeah, yeah. Kind of using Topher's sort of like signal weirdness. I'm into it. Meddling move with sensitivity.
Right. And I think I would like to also use the box of disposable cameras here
How so?
by saying that like Chris is gonna take a picture of this whole scene, mostly just to assure themselves that yes, this is real and you're not going crazy.
Nice, very good.
And, that is 12.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good. I owe you both clues. Ashley, what did you get? You got a mid result, right?
7.
Okay, great. Let's cut back over to Nate and Sean. Cartoon pig character costume swinging a chainsaw at you. Nate, what do you do?
Nate says, "How about a meatball?" He's gonna spike the basketball he has at the dude's face and try to get away.
Very good. I love it. Go ahead and roll night move. What do you think is going to happen if you fail?
That is, I'm gonna fully miss.
Indeed, it's worse than that. You will be split straight down the middle from crown
tracks.
to groin by the chainsaw. Do go ahead and roll. If you wish to continue, do go ahead and roll with vitality.
Yeah, I'll mark my signed Michael Jordan basketball.
Very good.
It's a 7.
A
No,
7.
vitality. No, that's a 5. Ha.
That's a 5. Hampton comes swinging out. You throw the basketball, and the basketball, I don't know if this is how it works physics wise, but the basketball hits the chainsaw and just pops, and the rubber just gets kind of flying everywhere. And then Hampton just like quickly, with surprising nimbleness, like runs forward and does the Leatherface like spinning up like to get momentum, as if that matters with a chainsaw, but spinning to get momentum, and then brings it down atop your head. We hear the crunch of your skull as your mealy gray brain matter goes flying all over the place, and then we just see the chainsaw. I think we just see like the camera is like from behind you, so as the chainsaw is tearing down your face, tearing down your neck, tearing down your collarbone and your sternum, and just going all the way through, you then split in half to just reveal Hampton standing there. Unless you want to mark that last
I think I
key of
need
good
to, because
eating.
I think I need to mark that last key of good eating.
Otherwise, real Nathan goes to the chromatic desert. So
Yeah. I think I need
okay,
to mark that.
very good. The final key of good eaten says, Let's read it here. Each road tripper should describe their best friend from back home. What part of their body would they like to devour and why? Otherwise, Nate, you are going to be able to escape. I'm not going to put any extra complication on matter. Oh, and yeah, I will. I think the basketball thing still happens. You lose the basketball, but otherwise, you'll be able to escape. Go ahead and well, I'm in control of the scene. So the basketball pops. You run, but I think you just leave Sean there. And so Sean, you're down there with Hampton. Hampton like spins around to take a swing at you. What are you doing?
This costume, does it have holes for eyes, or is it like a mesh thing?
It's a mesh thing.
Darn.
What did you have in mind?
Bengay to the eyes.
Oh, I mean, you can just punch through the mesh. I'm sure it's not some well constructed thing. It should be okay. They're quite big, the eyes. So,
Well, I mean, this is 1987, so a portable radio is going to be pretty hefty. He's
sure,
going to
yeah.
try and swing the portable radio at the head.
Nice, I love it. What do you afraid is going to happen? Night move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
His kinesiology studies will be for naught, and he won't get the angle right, and he'll still get chainsawed.
Absolutely. And it's worse than that. Hampton will immediately go stalking Ash and Chris. Do go ahead and roll with vitality. You can take advantage if you're marking something.
That's 11.
Very good. Please describe your escape.
I think he's had the boombox on a strap this whole time, just around his back. And when Hampton turns from trying to attack Nate and turns toward him, he just yanks it off, readies it in one hand, and swings with his right arm while kind of feinting to the side and clubbing Hampton in the side of the head.
Nice. And then you just run, I assume.
Yes, then running.
Indeed.
Ooh, actually, is he down enough that I could grab that chainsaw?
Sure, why not?
Gonna grab that chainsaw, then run.
Ashley, you got the mid result. Let's go. You were searching Mo's body. Love that.
And as she's doing it, she's going to like wipe her fingerprints off, take the blade, and like take Mo's hand and jab it in again, so it looks like she did it in some kind of religious fervor, and like make it look like it wasn't her.
Sure. I feel like it doesn't matter at this point. But
Well,
I like
she's
your
studying
attention to detail,
forensic.
Ashley. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a forensic scientist student. I know what they would look for.
I love it. Let's see what you find. Oh. You actually find in her fanny pack what appears to be, it's a little like it's like a little pamphlet, like a pamphlet for like a church, like a tract, little like church tract. And there's a Bible quote on it, but the Bible quote has had a Sharpie that's altered the text. This is what it says. So the text says, it's a quote from John 6:53, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you, except son of is crossed out, so that it's just, unless you eat the flesh of man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. But that's your clue. And as your complication, I think You hear someone coming from inside the theater. The door opens up. It's Kate Lee. She says, What's going on in here? I heard some kind of commotion. We're just about done with the cook-off. Oh my God. Is that blood? And let's cut over to Chris. Chris, what'd you get? You got a 12, right? And it doesn't, not that the 12 matters, but you get a clue free and clear. You are sort of communing with the signal, and you actually flash back in time. You sort of have an experience of like looking into the past during the time of the construction of the hotel in 1933. It's a detail related to the mass grave that the other characters found. But basically, the workers discovered this same mass grave, and they specifically noted that the bodies were sort of like Neolithic hominids, not quite human, all these bodies. And perhaps even more interesting, then owner of the hotel, an individual called Jason Tulliver, insisted the work go on as scheduled to just build right over the mass grave. Let's pick up with Kate Lee, her sort of bell-shaped Christian Dior dress, but also wearing like boots and work gloves. It's an odd combination. She says, What happened here? What's going on? Is that a leg sticking out from behind that seat?
I think Ashley kind of like clutches her side, like crumpling over, like she's hurt. She says, I I don't know what happened. She attacked me. Help me. And like as she's doing, she's like keeping an eye on how she's reacting.
Say that last bit again, Jazzy. That your noise suppression was cutting your
Oh,
words.
sorry.
Because it sounds like a whisper.
Yeah, she's just
I
like
think.
essentially pretending to be like hurt, and she's like, I don't know why she did that. She hurt me. I can't walk. Just, playing a wounded gazelle.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I would give you a roll here, except Kate Lee goes, Yes. She leans forward and says, She attacked you and fucking missed. That's why you need real hunters to do this work. She's far too old, and she doesn't have the same kind of experience that I do. And she pulls out a dart gun, and I think she's about to shoot you and tranquilize you with a dart gun. I don't think she's aware of Chris being around because Chris is up in the projection booth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think like Ashley like expected this, right? I don't think she like actually thought she was gonna help. She was trying to lure her closer.
Yeah.
But I think I have this thick ass photography book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to do like the classic, like Ashley gets shot, but she's going to angle it so it gets in the book. And she's going to pretend like it worked to get her.
Yeah. And then you're going to like strike when she's like,
yes.
Got it. This is going to be composure. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think she's too good. I think she's going to know that it's a ruse and not give me the chance.
Yeah. It's worse than that. You will be brought down to the basement and sacrificed directly to She Who Feeds. Go ahead and roll with composure.
Okay. I'll mark my book for advantage. Because we need it. In that case, it's a 12.
Nice. Your bonus will be that you will be able to meet up with Sean and Nate without having to encounter any other attackers or anything. You'll be able just to get the group back together really quickly. Go ahead and give me the scene, Ashley, and Chris as well.
Yeah, so I think Ashley like looks up, still like she's scared. We see the gun go. There's a thud as it hits her, and she just like grabs her side, screams in pain, and falls over. But I think she like falls in such a way that her hand still holding the knife is obscured, and she like just lays there limp, her hair covering her face. You see Kaylee like walk over, real smug, thinking that she did it. We see her go grab Ashley like by the hair, grab her up, and in that moment their eyes meet, and Ashley just goes, "Hi," and sticks in her stomach and slides it all the way.
Ashley's more scary than the cultists. All right. I love it. That's great. Yeah, Kate, as she dies, the expression on her face is not one of like anger or even surprise. It's more like begrudging respect. Like, yeah, you got me, gal. And then she slumps down and keels over dead.
And then the projector falls directly next to her because Chris tried to push it on her head and missed.
It just crashes, shatters. Well, the rest of the group can come back together. Nate and Sean, Ashley and Chris, are you all going to just meet in Hall A? Because that's what connects up the theater. Or are you going to go somewhere else? Go to shenanigans or what?
It's like we're covered in barbecue sauce
and blood.
She's covered in blood.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big fucking mess.
Yeah.
Obviously, things are not right in Kansas anymore, or whatever the fuck that saying is. And here you are, still not clear how you're supposed to escape, and yet you also are, you were implored by the big man to help figure out how to stop this cult, and I think Ashley's fully in it in stopping the cult mode. So let's just pick up with the scene with everybody together in Hall A. There's still like people in Hall A. Like there's still people like they're at their cooking booths, and there's a couple of like stray like convention attendees still roaming around. So role play.
You fucking left me, man.
What? I did?
You just left me.
Dude, I thought you were on the same wavelength as me. Like I said the one liner, like eat a meatball, and then I thought that was the sign, like we're gonna take off, and I started running, and I looked behind me, and you were still fucking there.
We need to find a fucking phone.
Why? Who are we gonna call? The cops?
No. I mean, probably maybe we should do that too, but no.
I think that Chris and Ashley show up, and Chris just goes, "Holy shit, Ashley's so fucking badass! Did you tell them what you did?"
I mean, it wasn't that special. People are trying to kill us, and I made sure that they didn't.
Yeah, like fucking Rambo.
You're covered in blood.
Or barbecue sauce.
No, I think that's blood. It's.
I think it might be both. Also, chili.
I'm never eating chili again.
This is really good, though. Just
okay.
Okay.
What the fuck
I
is?
know that we don't want to talk about the weird guy in the parking lot, but I feel like if we are ever going to talk about him, this would be a good time to do it, because we might not have a whole lot longer.
I just saw a fucking chili bath in the basement. Okay, yes, now isn't a perfectly okay time to talk about the big guy in the parking lot.
Please.
Oh yeah, I touched a projector and then I got sent back in time and watched the construction of the hotel, and there's a mass grave under it.
I don't have time for that. Like looking
yeah, we
at
definitely
Chris.
found the mass grave though.
Yeah, we found it,
Definitely
but
there.
what you just said, I don't have time for that right now.
Never have time for anything.
No, hey, Ashley, hey, you want to do this in the middle of Hall A? Because
You
we
don't want to
can.
do this with her. You don't want to do this with her. I'm telling you right now, you are going to lose this fight badly, buddy.
So we need a phone. Yeah,
To do what? Call the cops?
That's what I said.
probably that too. But no.
Who are we
I know a
calling?
guy. I know a
Who
guy.
Ghostbusters? Wait, is that out yet?
Ghostbusters.
The fuck
It
is
is.
that?
Yeah, Ghostbusters is out. Yeah.
Is it 19? Is it what year is it?
84.
Oh yeah, it's out. Yeah.
No, not the Ghostbusters. I haven't seen any ghosts anyway. Just fucking cannibals and cows.
I mean, okay, let's find a phone and let's call someone, but whoever we're gonna call, it's going to take a moment. And I don't know who you think can help us right now.
I
Let's
don't
go.
got many other
Okay.
ideas.
Sean, who are you going to call?
A friend, kind of.
You're so helpful right now. He turns his attention to Chris and Ashley and he says, whatever's going on with these weird cannibal cult cow obsessed weirdos, they clearly are under the effect of whatever that strange Sycorax bullshit thing that big guy in the parking lot told us about. So I think that maybe if we can figure that thing out, maybe it's like, I don't know, it's like, you ever kill the, when you like, it's like bees, right? You kill the queen and all the bees freak out. I don't know how fucking bees work. This isn't my major.
Do you want us to kill a cartoon / god?
He turns back to Sean. Let's find a phone.
I mean, I think we can definitely try and answer a question here.
Yeah, I think
Can we find a phone first?
Yeah,
you
let's
can find a phone first. So, out of character, what do you have in mind? Because I feel like the cult would probably have cut the phone lines.
I have a phone number for a Mr. Wolf,
Oh, you
and I'd love to get to
Oh,
use that before we answer the question.
Very
mean,
interesting.
yes.
I love it.
Chris has
Oh, I've got
a
it. I've got it. I've got it. I've got it.
You
internet.
got it. You got it.
You can make a phone call. It's fine.
So I think hugging
You
the
can,
walls.
yeah, there's a
and-
payphone in the. Yeah, there's a payphone. Probably the same payphone
I
that
don't have
Chris
a
used earlier.
quarter.
I got it. Yes, I got a quarter right here. Fucking take it.
Right. And he'll pull out a piece of maybe a business card that's been folded up several times and take the number off that and then dial it and just listen.
Well, hello, little pig. I didn't expect to hear from you in this way, and yet here we are.
Yeah, I know. But look, you said I can call if I'm in trouble, and me and my friends are in pretty big trouble.
Oh, you've been in trouble, friend.
Yeah, okay. But right now, very visceral trouble.
So what exactly do you need from me?
I don't know. We're in this hotel. There's cannibals. There's a guy with, well, minus a chainsaw, but we're in like really life and death danger.
Right. Well,
Do you know Sycorax? Does that mean anything?
now that is a name I haven't heard in a very, very long time. I might be able to help you, little pig.
Okay, great. Yeah, we're at shit. Guys, where are we?
La Fresca, the Moroccan
Right.
hotel.
In La Fresca, the Moroccan hotel. I think it's the only hotel here.
I'm on my way.
Great. Thank you.
And I think at this point we could probably take a 10-minute break in order to try to answer one of the questions. So don't forget you can add extra context to the clues or to the characters to make your theory fit. Yeah, we'll take 15 actually, because I need to go do a couple of things. So we'll take 15 and then we'll come back and talk about it. All right. So before we begin the answer a question, I want to just say what I just said off recording because I think viewers might find it interesting. The characters are actually in a really perilous situation right now because there are no more keys to be turned. They don't have access to the child in desolation, and 3 of the characters have 3 conditions already. So if they take another condition, they are going to the chromatic desert. Topher is dead if Topher takes another condition. Also, you could just fight a cultist and die that way as well. So there's a lot that could happen here. This is a really, really perilous situation for the characters. I will give you an out with Mr. Wolf, though. Mr. Wolf can just come rescue you, and there won't be, but you have to abandon the mystery.
And then presumably no rewards.
No rewards. So you have that as an out if you need it, if you think, especially if you roll poorly on answer a question. So let's talk about the theory. So what is, which of the questions are you going to go after? And let's start talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. We talked a bit about answering the complexity 8 question of how does she who feeds commune with her followers. We have decided, okay. Please interject if I've glossed over anything. That so when the hotel was built in 1933, Jason Tulliver also had a business partner who was an associate of one of the Flay settlers. So when they discovered this like Neolithic hominid mass grave and ancient caves underneath the hotel dig site, think like, you know, Pennywise's domain and it, that the bones there were from the ancient peoples of the desert, the, you know, the flame keepers and skystone dwellers who had used, you know, places of power to seal away the great hunger. She who feeds was one of them. However, Jason Tulliver and the Flay, who shall not be named, I don't know, we didn't actually describe actual identity detail to them other than that. They became kind of enamored with the allure of the, you know, of the she who feeds, the cult, and all this like power and dynamic, and they constructed a new place of power with the opposite purpose of reawakening she who feeds in full. They used the bones from the mass grave of the ancient peoples to form like an ossuary, like bone temple, like the one in Prague, that acts as a literal holy site dedicated to she that feeds. So this is supported by the, you know, Jacob Tulliver killing himself, and also like he had locked himself in the basement alone. He had spent a lot of time down there assembling bones. We decided that the Hall B vendor that sells bones uses bones taken from the bone temple, the pit of hunger, the pit of the stomach, whatever you want to call it, because those bones, when passed out, if you hand them around, they give you a connection to she that feeds. They're parts of the power, and it like lets her seep out and spread. I think we'd said that the chorus to Mr. 5x5, which is he's 5 feet tall and 5 feet wide, don't measure no more from head to toe than he do from side to side, is that there's literally the skull of like a giant, a 5 foot wide, 5 foot tall like skull that is like the altar centerpiece of this temple, that is like the like direct communing point for the god. And so with the trail of blood and the pamphlet for the Bible thing is basically that, just like to commune with she that feeds, they consume flesh, and that allows them to commune directly with their god. They will eat of human meat and then go into the bone temple and pray before their god. I think Ben said that the bone temple is behind the walls of shenanigans. Am I missing anything?
The way that we have to sever that connection is by kind of going down there and doing an inverse communication ritual, where instead of consuming flesh, we have to offer our own. is what we had decided, I believe.
And that will allow us to enter that dream realm and then
Okay, so taking a look at the clues, it all holds together pretty well. I like the what is the only one that I can't account for in what you just said is the fresh trail of blood leading to the theater. I feel like the theater is the important part there.
I think Jazzy incorporated that. It's just that it was just a sign of like the cult dragging people around the building for their uses. The theater wasn't necessarily the important bit there, or maybe I don't know. Maybe the theater has a backdoor into shenanigans. Who knows?
I mean, what if? I mean, what is? I mean, why? I mean, is there a reason why shenanigans has to be the facade for the temple? Can't it just be the theater? I mean,
Could be the theater.
yeah.
I know
I mean, it could be like the
Ben.
screen, right?
Mhm.
Or behind the
Could be.
screen. Yeah.
Could be.
You have to punch through the
Yeah, you like tear through
through the
it,
projector
right?
screen.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
like, I mean, like that's a pretty classic tropey sort of thing in movies, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it seems pretty well accounted for. The basic idea being, you have to do like you bring your sacrifices, you eat. That seems pretty straightforward enough. But importantly, there is this bone temple that can be accessed behind the screen, and I think the only way your characters are going to know if this is correct is if they actually go just like do it and they go look to see if in fact there is such a place behind the screen. I think that would be really intriguing. If you make this roll right now, you're at flat 0. So who wants to roll it?
I'll do it.
Don't be too excited here.
9.
9.
Yeah.
Okay. You are correct. You can now resolve the mystery by conducting a ritual in the hotel's basement that will allow you to enter the dead god's dream and shatter she that feeds his connection to the material world once and for all. We'll revise it slightly to say that basically inside this temple you can do the ritual instead of specifically having to say the basement. But otherwise, yeah. So what's the nature of what you have to do? What's the ritual you're going to have to do?
So we have to offer part of us. So it kind of connects into the key of good Eden, where
Okay.
they've been trying to like build the perfect host for she who feeds. So we
Mhm.
have to offer part of us, and then I think our parts will basically corrupt that host and make it so that then it can't come back.
Very interesting indeed. I like that. That's cool. Okay, well, if you're ready to go, we can do the thing. The cult will fight you because you got a bid result. It won't be easy. I will say, as you are approaching
I
the
do have
theater.
a wild question,
Okay.
actually, real quick. We can't get outside, can we? We can't get back into the parking lot. So I was gonna say, like, I have one of my items I can use is literally my Jeep.
Right.
And I was like, if it is possible to get outside, can we just all hop in the Jeep and drive the Jeep through the hotel and just go charging
yeah.
in?
Well, it might be possible in this sense.
Oh, okay.
I think as you are walking through the theater, maybe sneaking into the theater, one of those security locked doors leading to the outside actually opens up. And you all see a person in another character costume, but this time it's a cartoon wolf. Chris, you know what you're looking at. The rest of you don't. It's just more cartoon character madness. But this wolf figure says, "Here's the way out. Come with me if you want to live." But you should understand that my help comes with a very, very steep price.
So, does he say that just to Chris or
To all of you.
I think that we see the burn scars glitch onto Chris's neck again. And he says, yeah, like just awakening the thing that we're going to stop here later in our time, so we have to deal with it then. Fuck you, guy.
Ah, so you aren't completely oblivious to the nature of what's happening right now. How unfortunate for you. As for the rest of you, I owe you all a little bit of payback. But I consider myself a very reasonable person. And so, here's the way out. Take your chance now while you can. Do not go to the lair of she who feeds.
I mean, that sounds good. Are you coming with us or?
No, but I'll be wherever you're going.
That's a little ominous. So, ominous. So, are we going, guys?
I'm not.
I think Nate is just like, yeah, man, fuck this. And he's like he is going out through the door. Like he is fully ready to leave.
You just hear Jeep.
Yeah. I feel like he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm fucking out. Like I'm not dealing. This is crazy. I want to live, man. And he's gonna go. It's he is gonna leave, but I think when he gets to his Jeep, he will do the thing where he sits in the Jeep and he's gonna be like, just leave, just leave, just leave, just leave. And then eventually he's gonna realize, oh, fuck this, and then he's gonna use the Jeep for blunt reasons, but ostensibly it looks like he is leaving. He will come back.
Save the day at the last moment here, crashing through. Are the rest of you going in to check behind the screen to see if there really is something behind there?
Chris
I
is.
think seeing Nate drive off again, leaving them, he's just gonna go, are you fucking kidding?
No, right? That's what he
The
does.
worst. The worst.
Kind of is sometimes, but sometimes he pulls through. So let's hope this is one of those times.
At this point, Sean, somebody calls out to you from the other side of the theater. I think you're near the screen, which is where this back entrance is, or this back exit. But somebody from the entrance to the theater portion yells out to you. It is, in fact, Trace. Trace says, Sean.
Yeah, you gotta come with us. Come on, quick.
Why are you trying to keep your voice down? There's nothing to be scared of.
Fuck. Really?
For so long, I've tried to deny my inheritance. But I understand now what the Tullivers did, what we have to do. It's time for me to reclaim what belongs to me by name, by birth. And he's got several of the cultists with him. I didn't want it to be you. But here we are.
this whole time? And Sean's gonna just swing the chainsaw to his front and say, are we doing this?
It looks like maybe we're doing this. And
Oh.
the cultists, they start running down the aisles of the theater, like one down either side, and they're coming from up above as well. There's a balcony area. They're coming down. It's a lot of people you recognize from the whole event, attendees and cooks. It's almost like all of this was just arranged for your benefit. And here they all come. You see Robbie Flay. You see Bartholomew. They're all coming. What are the rest of you doing?
I think that Chris is going to pull out that IBM hardcore laptop that has internet connection and going to start playing the Eye of the Tiger over the speaker.
Very good. That's an
Give us some
appropriately
morale.
cheesy 80s action horror thing to do. All right, so you're doing AV. I love it. Ashley, it sounds like Ashley and Sean, you are on melee duty. Is that fair to say? Ashley,
I have a spiked, like the collar, the choker, and I think in one hand she has the knife, and she does like the choker like over her hand for like a knuckle bracer.
I love it. I love it. Very good.
Sean will rev up the chainsaw, but if Mr. Wolf is still around, he'll say, if you help us out, I'll owe you another one.
My. I feel almost guilty about taking you up on that offer, as you don't have all the information you need. And yet, I find myself very quickly letting my ethical and moral quandary dribble out like water from a glass. When you are back to where you need to be. In fact, and the character actually looks up into the camera and says, since this deal is being made on your behalf, Sean, I hope you won't mind when I take some liberties with Sheriff Bill.
Would now be an absurd time for while Mr. Big Bad is looking in the camera for the Jeep to run him down as it comes crashing through the wall.
I kind of like it. I think between the Jeep and the AV, I will give Sean and Ashley advantage on their combat with the cult. So, Ashley, night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Yeah, that I get taken. I can't fight them all.
Yeah, it's worse than that. You just you're killed and sent to the chromatic desert. Do go ahead and you're going to roll with vitality. Sean, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
He'll get taken, and also he'll never get a chance to figure out who this Bill is.
Yeah. Very good, very good. And it's worse than that. I'm not sure how it's worse than that. I don't know. I don't think I have any ideas. Let's just go for it. Ashley, what'd you get?
With that advantage, I got a 12.
12, very good. Vitality as well. Sean, what'd you get?
A 14.
A 14. All right. We are having the big action scene here. I love it. You're not done yet. You still got to go to the temple, and make your sacrifices, but you'll at least fight off the cult. So Chris, kick us off like before the combat begins. What are your AV preparations here?
Well, I think first it's running back up to the projector room and like kind of MacGyvering a connection into the old speakers with the new laptop, and then just starts blasting.
Fantastic. Ashley, go ahead. Give us a montage of you taking out cultists.
Yeah, I think if it's okay, because we need some shipping here. I think like when Nate like crashes the car, we see Ashley like duck away and then slide over the hood of it. And just like using that momentum just with the spikes just like straight in the eyes of one of the cultists. She's like stabbing another one. And then as Nate is like driving through, she's just like kicking people under the car, just straight up using that car to decimate a bunch of people.
Nate, give us your part.
Yeah, Nate, who comes blasting through the wall, immediately pancaking the big bad wolf costume thing, and just begins to just like bounce and rock, just going through the middle of the theater, just chairs flying everywhere, just hitting people. He is just like whipping the wheel back and forth as he's just mostly just causing some chaos. I think his rampage will kind of actually end by it swerving, hitting the stairs that go up to the stage, and kind of a little Dukes of Hazzardy goes up and just like smashes into the actual screen proper. But the front of the Jeep is just caked with just like gore and chili. And Nate is slumped in the front of the chair, like panning heavily, covered in just plaster and blood, and just panting. He's just looking out, and just yeah, I think he's just panning, and he tries to say something. He just has to like catch his breath, because what the fuck did he just do?
Sean, give us your part, including how you dispatch Trace.
I think there's some like very cinematic hallway fighting. The camera goes behind Ashley as Ashley's punching someone with the spiked knuckles, and we see Sean swinging the chainsaw at one of the cultists, who flies back in a gout of blood, and he's just moving toward Trace. And when he reaches, I think you can tell Trace is going to try a monologue again, and Sean just grabs him by his stupid hair and just tosses him to the side. And as he does, I think you see on the back of Sean's neck, underneath the collar, is a tattoo that says "You gotta have." And then we see the chainsaw come down and cuts away.
And I think in all the chaos, the screen got tore, and it's just like billowing down dramatically. Hampton, projecting against the wall behind. But in fact, Hampton is projecting almost perfectly onto a skull behind the screen. So it looks like Hampton is the skin of the skull, weirdly. And there's this enormous jutting open jaw in this enormous skull. Tiki torches all around it to indicate this is the entrance to the temple. No more rolls are required at this point to resolve the mystery. I just need to know what the sacrifice looks like in order to what you're going to precisely break She Who Feeds His Power. Is that right?
Yeah, it sounds like we got to go into the dead god's dreamland and
Right.
and then do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just have the sacrifice for now. What happens there? Each of you can describe your offering.
I think Ashley walks forward And with the knife that she still has, she smiles up at the skull, at the screen, as she has done so many times, as she always does, even when she really, really doesn't want to or doesn't feel like it. But that smile is everything that she is told to be. But she also knows that that part of her is the biggest lie there is, because she doesn't always want to smile. And in fact, very often she wants to shout. So she takes the knife and in that perfect, toothpaste commercial smile, she starts to carve and carve and carve until her jaw is just teeth and bone. And those lips still smiling, still perfect with the dark lipstick. She puts it in the skull.
Who's next?
I think Nathan climbs out of the wrecked Jeep and is just seeing that horrified. Doesn't do anything yet, but just kind of mutters to himself, "Never stick your dick in crazy."
I need sacrifices.
Oh boy. Sean is going to, seeing all this, seeing what everyone's doing and kind of getting the gist of what he has to do, he's going to kind of mutter under his breath and grabbing the closest knife. He's gonna just close his eyes for a second and then very almost surgically slice the tendon at his elbow right near the bicep, so his arm just drops limp and useless, and all of his weightlifting dreams gone, and also his masculinity, as we have established.
Steph and I are deep in thought.
I've got one, but I have a feeling it might be good to wait for that one for the end. Because I
Okay.
also want to wrap it into the key that I have.
Sure. Okay.
here.
Oh God, what am I gonna do? Okay, Nathan like climbs out, walks over the three of them, trying not to look at Ashley because Jesus fucking Christ. I think he's going to it's just to be clear, the term was like we had to for our theory that we talked about, it was like we have to give up a part of ourselves, like that is, or like was it specifically like okay, cool. Because like I feel like what Nathan does first, because he's an asshole idiot, is he just takes out the shit ton of money he has on him and begins throwing it like but clearly that doesn't mean fucking jackedly squat here. He just thinks rich person problems. Yeah, all right, here's a part of me. There's my money. No, no, really? Fuck. Um, and then he will just be like, I ain't doing this, man, but fuck. Okay, fine. And I think he's just gonna like take a knife, look at it sheepishly, like regretting driving back, regretting being here. And he's just gonna be like, man. He looks at the others and says, this would have been a lot better if I just learned how to shut the fuck up, right? Fuck me, man. He's gonna carve out his tongue and
And I think we see at the end, we get a close-up shot of Christopher from like a bust shot, shoulders up. And we see them deep in thought. The camera goes into their eyes, zooms in. We see a young Christopher and another person. Her name is Jane. And Christopher and Jane are sitting in a clubhouse that they had built. Jane was the first and only person who had ever talked with Chris about gender, about what any of this was and what any of it meant. And that he didn't have to conform to what he was born with. And in this moment, he remembers that kindness and that understanding that can only come from someone who has been experiencing the same kind of emotional turmoil as you. And we see Chris unwrap, or rather take off their camping jacket. And I imagine it's like a vest that has a bunch of pockets and like mesh and stuff. And the camera doesn't see it, but we can see the shape of, doesn't see fully, but we can see the shape of breasts at the bottom of the camera. And Christopher reaches out for the knife and cuts them off.
And now the dream world. The camera pulls back to show that the bone temple doesn't actually go very far, just enough to fit in frame. The rest is just studio lighting, boom mics. We see the four of you in various states of dismemberment. And cut. I'm confused. What are you confused about? Well, I don't understand. Mr. Big Bad is a wolf, but Sycorax is also a wolf, like a she-wolf? Are they like wolf husband and wife? Like, what's going on here? They're called bone wolves. Bone wolves. They're all wolves, get it? So you're telling me all the Great Hungers are wolves? I don't know. I don't write this shit. I just think it's going to confuse the audience. And also, how come the killer's a pig? That doesn't make any sense. Wolves hunt pigs. This is all a big mess. I think you're overthinking it, man. Don't you see? We're making connections. We're making connections between the past and the present, between the latchkeys. We got the meatpacking company. It's all going to work. I don't know. But I think we need to send this one back to the writer's room. I'm just not really feeling it. Are the four of you okay? And then the tape just cuts. Congratulations. You have resolved the Great Degoya County Chili Cook-Off.
Oh, yeah.
And I need about 10 minutes to finish up the rewards because that's the part I'm in the middle of writing for this mystery. It's not done yet. So give me like 10 minutes to like get the rewards sorted out and then we'll come back, okay? Rewards. We don't have a dawn phase, so there's no dawn questions to answer. However, for completing the mystery, you each get 2 experience points. So go ahead and mark your 2 XP. Furthermore, you all have access to a brand new move called Feast of Corpus Inferni. I will paste it here for you and I'll read it aloud as well. Feast of Corpus Inferni. Note, this move is available to all latchkeys until one of them uses it, at which point it is only available to that latchkey. The first time you eat a side character, clear all conditions, including special conditions, and take the condition Avatar of She That Feeds, which cannot be cleared. Hereafter, whenever you eat a side character, clear all other conditions and choose an option below. Gain +2 vitality to a maximum of 3 as your body swells with ill humors like an engorged tumor. Oozing pustules spread all over your skin, secreting black bile that melts whatever it touches. Your stomach blossoms into a gaping maw lined with teeth. Once all are marked, retire this character. Reintroduce them as a danger as they complete their ascension and are reborn in the image of our divine Sycorax, the enduring hunger, the unquenchable thirst, queen of wolves, first virago, she whose milk is blood, our ineffable, insatiable savior. So that's your move that you all have access to now. And finally, every lost transmission comes with a key to a storage unit at me and my self-storage. The storage unit key previously, or the storage unit belongs to the Moroccan Hotel and Convention Center. And so whenever your latchkeys want to, you just find the key after you're done watching the video. Whenever your latchkeys want to go open up that storage facility, let me know. But otherwise, that concludes our session for today. Let's go ahead and go to Stars and Wishes. I just realized my mic's a little off center. Hope that didn't sound weird. Stars and Wishes. Who wants to go first?
Just a real quick question. Do we still keep the conditions we earned in?
No, you can clear your conditions, and as well, you have to clear all those corner of the Jeep items as well. You don't have access to those anymore.
Yeah, I can go. Still kind of gathering my thoughts, but I can go. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I loved everybody's sacrifice. I thought they were very thematic, very great. Just like in general, I love like those kind of role play prompts, so like those opportunities. Um, for Steph, I loved like the combo move of Ashley and Chris, like the bear maze and then taking the knife and stabbing it. Like we talked a little bit about it in the chat, but it was just like one of those perfect like setup and then payoff. Like we were both just like, oh, okay, I know where this is going, which was very fun to like have that connection with people when you play. So I really loved that. Also, I loved like the burn scars glitching. That's was just so cool. I loved how you leaned into like being of the both worlds, and then just like shutting Mr. Wolf down, just like, nah, fuck you, dude. I'm not taking your help. That was really great, and it just like felt like such a perfect like 80s movie thing to do, which is like, nah, and I love that a lot. For Alex, I loved I did love the, oh, he's gonna leave. No, he's not. I also thought that was very cinematic to like kind of play it like, oh, he's definitely gonna leave them. Then be like last minute savior. That was very cool. Also like, how about meatballs? Like that was so stupid, but I loved it. That was really great. Perfect one-liner. And just straight up leaving Sean. I love that you committed to this Nate actually being the worst. I thought you did really great. Um, and I was very surprised with your prompt about whose latchkey's power that he wanted. I did not expect that. It was like surprisingly sweet almost. And that was really fun. And I thought even though, you know, we didn't see a lot of these versions of Ashley and Nate, I think um like we still had a lot of history there. Like you could still feel that there was a lot going on, even though we didn't really get to see much of that. Um, and for Ben, um, as I said, I love that Sean keeps being obsessed with foods that he really shouldn't be obsessed with. I think it's so funny that this is a theme that is like coming back. I really loved your description of taking out trays and just being like, no, absolutely not. And then Sean always having to give up his dreams just it ruins me. Somebody needs to give Sean a big hug. And I loved the way that you roleplay, like eating it and kind of being like, oh, that's great. And then like Sean at first being like, no, me and Nathan are besties. And then more and more being like, actually, no, I will not be treated like this. And he kind of sucks. I like that. That was really fun, like small character development. Um, I mean, for wishes, I want to see if there's, like lingering effects from the choices that we made, from Sean having made a promise for backup to Mr. Wolf, or I don't know if there's anything that we sacrifice that's going to be used against us. Just very, very interested in seeing if this has any effect at all.
Steph, you're muted. Or rather, your headset's off. Yeah, we can't hear you. Nope.
I'll go. I really enjoyed the. I love that this whole both sessions, the whole cook-off, it really, really felt like an 80-minute action horror movie from the 80s, right? Like it was so like it just had like a kind of like pacing, almost like a sloppiness to it that was really, really enjoyable. And just the like, kind of the sort of like action movie like twists that happened, Trace Tulliver showing up randomly as the villain at the end. Like there were just a lot of like little fun things like that. We got all the gore, we got all the excitement, we got a little bit of lore. None of it really held together, but I think that was the point. Like it was all kind of like meant to be like a little like madcap. But it was really, really fun, and I think it's exactly what this wanted to be. So yeah, I was just really pleased with it. I thought the sacrifices at the end were very good. They were so emotional and gross, and like really, they're really horrific, but like poignant as well. So I thought that was really quite good. I really, really loved that. I enjoyed I mean, like I like how just like how much the cult was just getting its ass kicked the whole time. Like the cult was just getting its ass kicked left and right, which I think is really great. It almost had like again, it had that sort of like 80s like like kind of action horror movie feel to it, which was really, really great. Just all around good times. I had a lot of fun sort of weaving in like connections to the Latchkeys and weaving in connections to Deep Lake in 2004. I thought that was really enjoyable. And yeah, my wish is to see like what is the well. I mean, I want to see if you all go to the storage facility to open up and see what's in there, and then yeah, and I'm also very curious to see if there are any like lingering repercussions. I also want to kind of have that scene, I think, with the Latchkeys like post watching the video, right? I think that scene needs to happen. And of course, very excited to get back from our break and pick up with Whisper and Convergence and all the other unresolved mysteries. So yeah.
I think my mic is fixed now. All right, cool. So I really liked when Nate and Sean were going into the basement and hearing the chainsaw in the background. Nate just turns into Jigsaw for half a second and says, "Basement or chainsaw, make your choice." That was really funny. I loved that a lot. I also really, really liked Sean's just going, It was, I love all of these scenes. It's very campy and such a fun, like, again, like an 80s horror movie way. It's so great. I love it. This was a really fun sequence to run through. I'm going to second the star that you gave, Ashley. I loved that sequence of us just playing directly into each other's characters and knowing without like discussing it even what was going to go down here. It was really fun. I love getting into that groupthink space. It just makes really cool stories when stuff like that happens, and I'm really glad that we were able to make that sort of moment come together like that. It was really fun for me. I also really liked How About a Meatball. And then it just immediately did nothing. I like that pretty much all of Nate's one-liners have always been anticlimax. Just everything he's been trying to do when he says a one-liner does not work out, and I think that's perfect for what kind of character Alternate is.
Anticlimax is how Ashley Noakes described her past relationship with Alternate.
Probably. I'm going to echo all of the wishes that have been said to this point. I'm very excited to see the repercussions of the sacrifices we made, if there are any. I'm also excited to see what's in the box, and I want to see if there will be. I don't know. I just have this idea of Mr. W the lizard riding on top of Mr. W the dog, and it's stuck in my head. So wish, I guess, for that. Jason, I really loved all of the characters and the way that you portrayed them all. I hadn't even considered that Trace was going to turn coat when we had talked about the theory, mostly because I was not focusing on that aspect. I was like, ooh, cool, bones and sacrifices. Ooh. But yeah, that was really surprising. And I really liked the way that final confrontation played out. It was so much fun to set up and watch and just be a part of. It's been an incredible series of sessions.
Yeah. I big star to Jason for the absolutely grotesque descriptions of chili and just general meatiness. I also really enjoyed the narration of getting chainsawed in half with the Hampton reveal, like splitting down the middle. Very classic, like Splatterhouse kind of, like look there. That was I love that. Yeah, I really enjoyed the brief little scene, but it was good, of Ashley and Nate butting heads. That was like of having a fucking argument. It was like, hey, you want to do this here? And then Chris being like, no, you don't do this with her right now. You will die. Yeah, the scene with Mr. Big Bad. Hey guys, we did a help move in a CFB game. We gave other people advantage. That was great. No, that scene rocked. I really enjoyed Shant's kind of coming into his own, as we said, with like the whole like, yeah, he's my best friend. It's like, oh no, this guy just sucks, and just like, dude, you left me, and then just constantly just not taking it was great. I really enjoyed everyone's characters. And while I'm not sad to be returning to the core group, I am certainly glad that we ended before that things got even more bloody with them, because that would have been a very messy ending. I'm also very interested to see who these talking voices behind the scenes are, that Jason occasionally gives us commentary with. Yeah, wishes though. I mean, I'm just excited to get back into the Whisper. We need a scene between Ashley and Nathan, like a proper like emotional scene, because I feel like after the events of that, it's gonna be like, yes, now Nathan can internalize what a healthy relationship should be, because it's not that. So let's talk like adults, so we don't end up like that.
Yeah, I'll echo a lot that has been said. I really loved the way everyone went really hard, really leaned into the theme and the visceral, meaty grossness that this whole thing was about. It was really good. All the little moments between the characters we had, I mean, like, yeah, it was really good. Also a star for flattening Mr. Big Bad, and a combo wish. Maybe Nathan is Mr. Big Bad's problem now. Just saying. Sean didn't run him down with a car, so he has that in his favor. I really, enjoyed this. I'm very intrigued to see the final form, and also if more of these weird little side story tapes are on their way, what else the Latchkeys can get in trouble with.
I don't know
Also,
about in
really
this
glad we
campaign,
didn't
but there's
die.
definitely going to be at least one more, because I'm running it in a couple weeks, so or in like a week or so. My hive mind killer cockroach mystery.
Oh yeah.
Seething. Fantastic. Cool. Any other stars or wishes?
I realized I forgot to give you some stars, Jason. I really loved your portrayal of Katie in this. I really loved that scene with Ashley like being like, "Oh no, I'm so wounded and helpless," and then like the dart gun kind of like still making it work, but giving it a complication. I thought that was like a really tense, cool scene. I loved how she like just the vibes of like the 50s housewife and then the hunter bit. I thought you like described that really well. I mean, I was very sad for Ashley because she was super into Katie Lee. Like she was super into her, but oh well.
I think you had
And
I
I
think you
also
had
just
respect from her at the end, though, right? Yeah, at the end,
yeah,
it was like,
they
okay,
had the moment.
yeah,
I also just I really loved like how I feel like you kind of like helped us get to that campy 80s feel and like made it feel like, yeah, this is like a slightly different tone from the main campaign, and that's like
right, yeah,
completely fine. And like helped us get there, and then like with the reactions and everything, like really got us there. I thought that was really fun. And like even though it was like very campy and over the top, that moment with Mr. Big Bat still made me so scared. Like he showed up, I was like, oh no, now
Well,
it's
because that was
real.
like that was like the proper campaign and like reasserting itself, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and almost like because of the different tones, it was like more keenly felt.
hmm
It's like, you know, like when you have a cartoon or something like generally happy or like a different tone, and then like that one serious character feels like
Mhm.
more dramatic. And
Well,
that
and
was
I
like
felt
the
the
feeling that I
sacrifices were
got.
that way too. Like I felt that way with the
Hmm.
sacrifices. The
Yeah.
sacrifices felt like in addition to the Mr. Big Bad moment, it was like the one part where it was like the Latchkeys in 2004 story, right? Like it kind of felt
Yeah.
like that was like the main story, like kind of reasserting itself because otherwise the cook-off was just like it was just campy, gory splatter fest fun, right? Like like it was very much
Hmm.
like just a midnight movie, and it was great fun in that way. But yeah, those couple little bits at the end with where basically one also like this sort of like weird like stage direction meta thing going on, like all that stuff kind of coming back was very much like felt like a reminder of like, oh yeah, there's this other thing we're doing still. Yeah, so sorry
Yeah,
to
and
cut you off.
especially
Yeah,
like it coming in like at the end, it just really
right,
like I
yeah,
feel like almost all of us like naturally kind of went like, oh, we're shifting back, and then you had
yeah,
like the connection between the two, which I thought like, and also kind of was the for me was like the moment where you could really feel like, yes, these are different versions, but they're still the people that we know,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
like said in the last session that I really like the idea of. And
Mhm.
this just really felt like bringing that home in a big way. Like, yes, they're different, they're doing their own thing, but they're very much the people that we know.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Any other stars or wishes?
I just think it's really funny that Mr. Big Bad has been interrupted by Nathan twice now. First time, both times monologuing.
Yeah, Mr. Big he's fun to play. I like him a lot. It's a fun character. All right. I think in that case we are good to go. Let's go ahead and wave goodbye to everybody watching the video. We'll see you in a couple months if you're in real time with us. All right.